in 1997, 1998, the government attempted to give out concessions in Bokomo and Gongulala districts in Bapolo. Those two districts were once one chiefdom, Bokomo chiefdom. The people of that chiefdom have got the whole collectively deed to their land. The chiefs, the elders, the inhabitants, they've got a deed in fee simple to their land. When former President Taylor attempted to give out concession on their land, they said to him, no, 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 this is our forest. We've got title to this land, and that covers the trees that stand on the land. The then acting managing director of the Forestry Development Authority, Honorable Wayne Bryan, wrote to the president and said, these people have got title to their land. In the past, we've always allowed for them to negotiate for concession on their land. The government has always in the past attested to those agreements, and in return they receive their full land rental on which they pay taxes to the state. Following that exchange, in 2000, interestingly, the government changed the law, the forestry law. And the most important element of that change was that the state, the republic, owns all forest resources. Whether they own private land or not, the state owns those resources. Effectively separating the trees from the land on which they stand, which was wrong, which is still wrong today. In 2006, there was an acknowledgement that that was wrong. When the forestry law was rewritten, it read, the forest belongs to the people, but is held in trust by the republic. Notwithstanding, it made very clear provisions that the government cannot issue contracts for private land. The private landowner will have the right to negotiate for contract, for logging contract on their land. And only after they have negotiated and given written permission to the person who wants to log on their land, would the government then go into negotiations with that particular company. However, what we've seen recently is that the FDA went ahead, in spite of protests from the people in Bokomo and Gongulala, and issued two different contracts on their land. In Bokomo district in Bapolo County. One forest management contract, which is around 120,000 hectares, overlapped with the land in Gongulala end. They have made series of representations to the Forestry Development Authority, challenging the authorities' right to issue contracts on their land. They have they invited Honorable Woods to a meeting in Bopolo City, invited the legislators, and said to him, you have no right to issue contracts on our land. Can you please stop? He refused. Today, the timber sale contracts that were issued in Bokomo have been signed by the Forestry Development Authority. The forest management contract that overlaps with the land in Gongulala is before the legislature for ratification. With all that, up to 2-3 days ago, they were still begging, pleading with the president not to allow those contracts to go ahead. As I speak, I am not aware that that decision has been reversed. And as I said earlier, that will amount to seizure of community property, because they've got property rights to the land, and it should not be subjected to government contracts. That is what I mean by that statement.